One of the biggest problems with the V10 Lamborghinis, especially ones that are 2022 and newer, is this. We're driving right now, we're in Trofeo mode in this Huracan STO 2023, and it's super quiet because the exhaust valves, they don't open until 4,500 RPM. They're open and idle, and then when you set off, they're closed. So it makes the driving experience very dull at low RPMs. We understand that you bought a Lamborghini to enjoy the sound at all RPMs. We don't want the exhaust valves to be closed so much of the time that you're driving the vehicle. So today we're going to show you guys how to install our Valvetronic Designs exhaust valve controller that controls the OEM exhaust flaps. So you can leave them 100% open all the time, or you can close them up 100% so that you decide when your exhaust operates, so you can have the perfect sound experience for your driving experience. It really dulls the experience here because we're driving around in this Huracan, 3,000 RPM, you're gonna hear the change. Ready, steady. Hear that? Valves are open, so now I shifted into third, we're down at like 3,500 RPM, the valves are closed again, so definitely not the experience. Ready, close, close, closed, open. Sounds good up top. We're gonna give this Lamborghini the soul down low that it always should have had. The buttons on the steering wheel, they do not control the exhaust. It is all based on throttle position and where you are in the RPM band. So this controller is gonna allow you to have 100% control. Let's get to installing it right now. To begin the installation process of your exhaust valve controller, here's the first step. If you're on a Huracan STO, fortunately the install is very easy. If you have an Evo or other Huracan, it's a little bit more complicated, but we'll elaborate here in a moment. First step is going to be removing this carbon cover on this STO. I don't know exactly where the little thing is to open these push tabs that lift the tray up, so you can actually just use your finger and rotate and spin it like that, so it'll pop. And then now the whole tray is going to move forward and then up, so pull it forward. There's a latch here as well, make sure you pull the latch, which is right here under the tray, and then the whole carbon cover comes off. Fortunately on this Huracan STO, the exhaust valve solenoid is very easily accessible. There's a black cover that's on it where you can see my hand. There's a cover on it, and then the exhaust valve solenoid is hidden behind this cover. It's on with a little tab onto this bracket, and you're able to just grab it with your fingers and pull it outside. So you can see here, so your exhaust valve solenoid is right here where it says made in USA, which is strange because I thought this was an Italian car, but such is life, I guess. So the way these connect is there's a little tab here, and then it slides on as such. So what you're going to want to do is with the connector installed, you're going to take your pry tool, just lift it under the edge here and pop it off, and these two pieces will come apart. Now it's disconnected. For certain Lamborghini Huracans and other models of vehicle that this exhaust valve controller comes on, there are some incongruities with OEM suppliers that supply the controllers for the cars. On the right here, we have the way the controller comes currently to you. Everything is plugged in, it's ready for plug and play access. On here, you can see there's a 2 where the red power wire is. There's 2 right there. Now this fits all your Audi Huracan models. The situation is for Evos and STOs like the STO we have behind us, the pinning for this controller from factory, the OEMs sometimes switch the controller harness from the original factory setting. So like on an R8, this works. On an STO or an Evo Huracan, it doesn't. Very strange. Some Evos work, some Huracans, STOs, right out of the box, the controller will work. Other times you will need to do the following. This is the same controller, but if you see, we just put the power wire on pin number 1 here. So when the controller is shipped to you, if this is not attached, you'll need to test using a multimeter to make sure where the power is. For most Huracan, STOs, and Evos that we've experimented with, having the power on the 1 is the right way to do it. We've seen a couple STOs and some Evos as well that are the same operation as the Audi R8s, the V10s. So what we do is we supply this kit, and it's easy to take apart and repin if necessary. If you receive the kit and this is not attached, that means that you'll just need to test which plug is correct. If you're using 1 or 2 for your power, you'll be in good shape to use your controller as intended. So we definitely recommend getting a multimeter or having somebody who installs these all the time, who knows how to work a multimeter well. Just test to make sure when the car is in the accessory power position where the power is flowing across the controller, because for Huracan STOs, most of the time, it's 1. For Audi R8s and Gallardos and stuff of this nature, it is 2. So this controller has been set up for the STOs and Huracan Evos for right now. In pin number 1, we're going to show you guys how to finish the installation right now. On the table right here, we have 2 very similar exhaust valve controllers. In my right hand here, we have the way the controller is normally supplied for Audi R8, Huracans, and Gallardos. You can see here, the power wire is in the 2 position. Now, after having tested on this Lamborghini Huracan STO and other Evos, there are some mid-year supplier changes from OEM depending on what model year the vehicle is. So, when we went to plug in this controller, it didn't work because this power is not correct for this specific vehicle. On the left here, in my left hand, we have the same exhaust controller, but the power is in the 1. Some mid-year changes for the suppliers who supply the vacuum solenoid for the OEMs, they change the power sometimes. So in the kit, this will be supplied to you without this connected. Find a multimeter or somebody who is handy who can just test with the car in the accessory power position where the power is running through the controller. You don't want to pin this in and then not have the correct side. So for most Huracan Evos and STOs, you want to have it in the 1. Most Audi R8s and Gallardos and such, you want to have it in the 2 position. But it is variable. We've seen some R8s that have it in the 1 position, some Huracans that have it in the 2 positions. It's very strange. We don't know why Lamborghini or the suppliers who made this for Lamborghini do it this way, but the controller is designed to be easily flipped and swapped if you need it to. So it won't be plugged in when the controller arrives to you. Use a multimeter to test where the power is going, plug it in, and then we'll show you guys the rest of the installation right now. Let's get to it. So it really is as simple as this. We've unplugged the connector as we showed you before. This is just an interception harness. So you're going to plug this in and then this in where the original connection was. So we'll plug it in right now and then we'll show you where the ground goes. This goes in like such. Hear the click, make sure it's clicked in. And then it's a little hard to see this, I apologize, but because everything's all plugged in, down here where my hands are messing around, I'm grabbing the original controller and feeding the Valvetronic connection into it. It's actually, now that I have my hands on top, a little bit easier to see. Plug it in, ready, click, perfect. And then the ground. So now the controller is all plugged in. The picture that we just showed you before is where the ground goes. It's a little bit tricky to get in there, but with a Torx bit and a little screwdriver like this, it's actually easy enough to get in there. So if you take a look now, I'll try and point out things as best as I can with the screwdriver. Down here, the ground. The exhaust valve harness is all tucked behind this black shield, and from factory there's a little clip on the back of the harness that locks it into place so it's not moving around. So with your remote in hand, you're going to want to put the car into the accessory position and confirm the controller is operating properly. With the accessory power on, that click indicates that the exhaust valve harness is working properly. Right now we've been messing around with this car for a little while, so there's not any vacuum that's been built up, but you can hear the power is actuating the exhaust valve solenoids. Closed, open. Last steps are going to be putting this carbon fiber roof scoop back on the car and locking it into place, putting the tabs down, and we'll be ready to go for our first drive. Let's do it out. All right, guys, I got the key to happiness in my hand right now. 7th gear, we're just cruising along normally, but ready? You're now able to open the exhaust valves at any RPM you choose. So if you want a more emotional experience down low, Valvetronic gives you the option now with his valve controller. Close it up, and it's amazing because you can run this car all the way to the red line with the valves closed now. All you get is engine noise. But if you want, click the valves open. Hear the bass. Way more enjoyable now because you are able to 100% control the valves. Remember, with this, there is no OEM control. It's either 100% open or 100% closed. So the controls in your hand. We'll put it into the Trofeo mode here, and I'll get myself out of automatic. Even in the lower RPMs, you get a nice bassy exhaust frequency, which is very enjoyable. This car, we understand, is not someone's daily driver, but they wanted to give that emotional experience all the time, and the Valvetronic Designs exhaust valve controller delivers just that experience. Now let's give you guys some outside clips of how this changes the exhaust experience as the car flies by. I'm gonna do some fast flybys, stay tuned.